Came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree, there's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from...
Well, hello guys and welcome again. This is Alex, and today we're not outdoors doing some crazy shots with the drones. Today we're here in the studio, and as you've seen, we're gonna be working on 3 different types of shots to make some kind of nice video. And I've chosen, let's get into Premiere, I've chosen 3 different types of shots. The first one was shot with a Mavic Air in Japan. I did it a couple of months ago, and it is with a color profile, I mean with the regular color profile, nothing really different. This one was shot with a Mavic 2 Zoom. I believe I did it in Menorca. It's shot with Cinelight. As you can see, there's a little bit more of gray, dynamic range, and less saturated and all that. And finally, the third shot will be a sunset shot that to me are the most beautiful shots shot on drone. So we're gonna see also, it is a crooked horizon. We're gonna see how to color grade and color correct these 3 shots. Very simple. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time. I don't really want to get into the detail. I just want you to see the workflow that we do use in WeTalk UAV for this kind of shots. So I'm gonna try to spend the least time possible. So let's start right away. I'm on Premiere and we're going to be working on Lumetri, but this applies to any software that you may use. Okay, so the first shot, it looks pretty decent. It is a little bit dark to me, so what we're going to do is at the basic correction, do the color correcting first and the grading second. It is important. This is not right or wrong. I mean, everyone can do it the way he wants, the way he feels, the way he likes. But what I do believe is important is that you color correct first and then color grade. The difference, when you're color correcting, you're setting up the whites, the blacks. You're correcting the image in terms of light, of exposure and all that, whites, the blacks. And color grading would be more the kind of painting your footage if you want to look for some mood or some, putting some different colors or saturating more specific colors. But in my opinion, and as an advice, general advice, you should always color correct first, and once your drone shot is perfectly set up, let's say, then you can start painting it, because otherwise it will be a little bit complicated to do. So no more talking, let's go and start. The first shot, as I'm saying, it is a little bit dark to me. The colors are okay, but let's try and increase a little bit the exposure, a few steps, so that we can immediately see it is a little bit higher. The contrast a little bit always, to make it a little bit, more cinematic. Let's play a little bit around with the highlights. Yeah, to get a little bit the highlights out of the image. That looks too saturated to me. The blacks are pretty decent. It's a Mavic Air. Another tip, if you are trying to color correct, always go to the end of the bar and you'll see what you're actually doing to the image, and after that you can correct it properly. Something like that would look pretty decent to me in terms of light. It would of course saturate it a little bit more, not too much. And now it does look a little bit cold. Let's saturate a little bit less. It looks a little bit cold to me, too blue, so we're gonna be playing a little bit around with the temperature. Not too much though. Something like this looks pretty decent to me. And what I've done in less than a minute, look the difference. You start having something a little bit more, better looking and more professional. Finally, if you want to go to the creative part, you can increase the faded film look. Sometimes it's okay, you can apply it, this depends on you. Sharpen is important. Sometimes DJI drones, if you set them to 0, are not too sharp, so you may want to play a little bit around with this. And the vibrance, what it will do, will increase the, in this case, the blue and the green. That's pretty much it, saturation. Now it looks pretty okay to me. A little bit still too cold. Let's increase this a little bit. The difference from what it was to what it is, you can already feel it, right? Let's jump onto the second shot, the one with the Cinelight. Now here it's gonna be a little bit more aggressive on the editing part, because of course we did record in Cinelight. Remember to get more information on the different gray, black and white tones. This way, exposed, it is probably exposed. We'll have to increase the contrast quite a bit. The highlights maybe not too much, because it already looks good to me. The shadows a little bit, of course. The whites not too much. and the blacks. Now it looks a little bit better. It should be a little bit more contrasted. Of course, we're gonna play also with the sharpness, not too much though, the vibrance and all that, but you can already see the difference from a scene-like to something that looks a little bit better. Now it would be color corrected, more or less. You may want to play a little bit with the grading now, make it a little bit warmer. I've seen that sometimes DJI drones, especially, this is the Mavic 2 Zoom, they do tend to film some kind of reddy, bluish, reddish, so you may want to play with that, with the tint always, and you know. Finally, the vibrance, of course, if we want to increase, not that much, of course. And the curves, in this case, if we go to the scopes, everything seems pretty good to me. Let's see the difference from what we just did. Nah, it is, of course, very obvious, the difference. Now you can play with the tints again. I know this mountains were very, very reddish, so you may want to put them a little bit like this, and that looks pretty good to me. Again, the difference, oh, maybe it's too saturated. We can decrease a little bit the saturation. Now it looks pretty okay to me. And finally, when you guys have something like this is a crooked horizon. This may happen due to tons of reasons. It's not so bad. The way of solving this is, of course, rotating it. In this case, we're gonna put -2, I believe. Now it looks pretty straight to me. Of course, if you rotate it, you will have some black spaces, so you have to increase the scale. In this case, we'll have to go to 107%. So now it looks, of course, this is not the ideal scenario, but it may, you know, help you a little bit. So yeah, now it looks straight to me. And play a little bit with the basic correction. Let's correct it a little bit, increase the contrast, because this is very washed out. I think I shot this with a Mavic Pro Platinum, Mavic 1. I remember the Platinum was a little bit like washed out footage, so we'll have to sharpen this a little bit. The highlights, well, not too much. The shadows, increasing the whites a little bit, not too much though. I'm gonna leave them at 0. And this also at 0. Saturation, of course, increase it a little bit. We're gonna play with the sky in a second. It's still crooked, let me see. Let's put it at -3 degrees. That's too much. -2.5. Yeah, now better, so we'll have to increase to 108. 108, and now it is decent. Let's go to the creative part, and here is where we're gonna play with this shot. Sharpen it up a little bit, not too much, but sharpen it up. If we do increase the vibrance, it will take the reds up. And now let's go to the highlights and let's play a little bit. We want it really orange, right? Sunsets. We can, you know, in this case exaggerate it a little bit. And finally, let's play a little bit with the color wheels. In this case, you want to increase the mid-tones to give that sunset ready look. Finally, of course, we're gonna put some temperature in it to make it a little bit more epic. And I'm gonna increase a little bit the contrast, I believe, because it is too less contrasted. So something like this. Let's see the difference. Oh my god, this is a huge difference. Yeah, you can see the difference. And in the end, what you'll see is you'll have to take the beautiful parts out of your shot. You know, for example, this shot starts like this, and then tilting is too heavy, so I'm gonna cut this a little bit and, you know, have it smooth, and that's pretty much it. So nothing really else to say, guys. I hope that you enjoyed. If you have more questions about our editing, please leave it in the comments. Leave it a thumb if you thought that this was helpful. Nothing really else to say. Always remember to keep calm and talk to you with a V.